2, live above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. This morning we got D. Wood talking basketball, which is awesome. We got Angry Peter from Freehold, New Jersey. We got an angry Nick fan going to get mad about what's going on over here. A basketball squad is ready to roll today. Tannenbaum is up and early. Let's go. Game of the night last night, Madison Square Garden, after a very interesting Game 1, Knicks-Pistons, in which the Pistons were in control much of the night, and then the Knicks blew it away in the fourth quarter. Last night, it was a lot about Cade Cunningham. He was spectacular, Carlos Boozer.
He was unbelievable. Got it going early and often.
After a Knicks pass to nobody in particular, here comes more from Cade. He had 33 points, 12 rebounds, and he was letting Carmelo Anthony know about it as well. Pistons up 8 going to the fourth quarter. But this is where Jalen Brunson and the Knicks on Saturday, Booze, they went on that 21-0 run, and it looked like they might do the same thing.
They ended the third quarter great last night and carried that momentum into the fourth quarter.
Brunson, as he always seems to, carrying the load. He had 37. That one made it a 2-point game. Ensuing possession, 2 minutes to go. Where does Cleveland go for a bucket? Detroit, excuse me. That's Cade Cunningham to Jalen Duren. That's good. Pistons up by 4. A minute to go. Knicks down by 2. Brunson double teamed. Josh Hart wide open. We're tied at 94. The Garden crowd was rocking. It's just like it felt the other day. And that night, Detroit couldn't find a place to get a big shot. In this case, Dennis Schroeder, he has been great in this whole series. That's a huge 3 off the bench. He had 20. Knicks' last chance. Down by 3. Mikal Bridges, could you be more open? Off the front rim, and that's how it ends. Detroit makes foul shots and wins it. Cunningham the 33, Jalen the 37, Pistons the win to even up the series at a game apiece. We're going to hear from Angry Peter here in just a moment. There is a lot of frustration. Look, we are in Knicks country here, so we're surrounded by a lot of frustration. And Marcus, we were talking earlier today, the Knicks don't look, if you just watched this series and didn't know anything about the season that preceded it, 7 out of the 8 quarters, you would emerge thinking the Pistons are the better team. What are you seeing, Marcus Morris?
And you're correct. The Pistons have been the better team in this series, and it's surprisingly that they're playing in the Garden and still looking like the better team. But take your hat off to the Pistons coaching staff and what J.B. Bickerstaff has done with this team this year. Detroit Pistons aren't scary. They're playing poised. They're playing hard. They're playing like they have nothing to lose. This is a really dangerous team, and if I was the New York Knicks, if I was the fan base, I'd be very, very, very worried.
Very worried, and he actually gave us 3 verys on that. So it's a heavily worried situation here, Booze. And look, I mean, the Knicks fans, there's a lot of places to be frustrated. Karl Anthony Towns, big acquisition, took 3 shots in the second half, none in the fourth quarter. Mikal Bridges, the big acquisition, 0 points in the fourth quarter. These were supposed to be the guys who get the Knicks over the hump. Instead, right now, they look at jeopardy of not even making it to the hump.
These were the guys that were expected to give Jalen Brunson some help. Right. Jalen Brunson is carrying this team, doing a phenomenal job, as he always does. Cat has really gotten outplayed by Tobias Harris. Another big double-double for him, 15 and 13 for him. I felt like Cat just didn't have a presence yesterday. The first game, he had 23 and 11, was 10 for 14, had a presence to him. Last night, no presence. I didn't even feel him on the court. And obviously, Bridges had a huge first half, non-existent second half. This is not the Knicks team you want to see. In my opinion, Detroit has all the momentum. They did their job. They got 1 win. They could have got 2 wins. Going back to Detroit, where we all know all their other players, the complementary players, are going to play great at home in Detroit.
It was a monumental win for a Pistons team that literally hadn't won a playoff game since 2008. And the bench is a huge factor in this. They had good performances off their bench, Detroit did in Game 1. And last night, their bench outscored the Knicks bench 35-8. All 8 Knicks bench points came from Deuce McBride last night. Let's hear from the voice of a Knicks fan. Frustrated, scared? What's the emotion this morning?
This isn't shtick. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and last week you guys were all talking like, if Tibbs doesn't get past the Cavs or the Celtics, is that a disappointment? Like, Cavs or the Celtics? This Pistons team scared the heck out of me coming into this thing. And there were a lot of stars there last night. I saw Fat Joe in all pink. I saw Paul Rudd. I saw John McEnroe. Does Karl Anthony Towns want to be a star? Because he wasn't on the court when it mattered most, making plays. Does Mikal Bridges want to be worth 5 first-round picks? I didn't see it out of him. And I know we love Tibbs here, and everyone loves Tibbs in New York, but, you know, Cam Payne got 3 fouls early and didn't see the court the rest of the game, and Deuce McBride scored all their bench points. I can't watch that team last night and then in the same breath see Dante DiVincenzo balling, Julius Randle balling, and then Hartenstein dominating on Sunday afternoon, and us think, well, can they get past the Cavs? Cavs, let's be better than last year, and I'm not sure this team is any better than last year's.
If you look, that's a team that made a run last year. I'm not taking anything away from what Indiana did last year. They won and they deserve it, but the Knicks they were a shell of themselves by the end of that. And that was a team that certainly looked like it was headed to the conference final before the injuries just completely took them out of it. But they had so many more players then. They gave up a lot of them, as he says, for Mikal Bridges, or the picks were Mikal Bridges. They made the big trade to get Karl Anthony Towns and move some other pieces away. Is this team better than it was in the playoffs a year ago?
It doesn't look like it. I mean, last year's team was tough. They were gritty. They had guys. There was leaders in that locker room. Obviously, Brunson's their best player, but who's the leader in that locker room? I mean, me and Woody were talking backstage, like, not always your best player is always your leader. Who's going to get in somebody's face in a huddle? I don't know if they have that guy in the locker room. And
so, Marcus, put a finishing touch on it for us here. I mean, the Pistons deserve all the credit in the world. This is a young team that had a surprisingly good season. As I mentioned, they hadn't won a playoff game in 17 years. Until last night, and here they are, having looked like the better team to this point. If I gave you a mulligan on your pre-series pick, Marcus, whatever it is you thought was going to happen before the series, who do you believe is going to wind up coming out of this series, the Pistons or the Knicks?
This is a tough one, and I know Knicks fans aren't going to like this one, but, I got to go with the Pistons. Like, unless we have a drastic change or, I always speak on consistency, right? Like, players need consistency. So even coming back and bringing somebody off the bench and hopefully Campaign can give you that same surge. He didn't play last game, so he don't even know if he's going to play the next game, right? You have to have consistency in the most important time of the season. And right now, the Detroit Pistons have all the consistency with how they're playing their veterans, with how the minutes they're rotating their guys. And just to be quite frank, I got to go with the Pistons. They got one in New York. They get to go back home. And hopefully, if they take care of business, get two. So, listen, I'm going to go with the Pistons right now.
Game 3 will be on Thursday with Marcus and Booze and a first-time, long-time Peter Schrager with us.
I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to like what you hear.
I know you don't like that, Peter.
More basketball as we go to the NFL next. We are T-minus 2 days and counting to the NFL draft, and in that spirit, Peter in his day job is dropping Schrager bombs on us. So here's what we think we know. We think we know Tennessee is going to make the first pick on Thursday night, and they will draft quarterback Cam Ward. We thought we knew what was going to happen at 2 and 3, but you're making it sound this morning, Peter, like maybe we shouldn't be so sure.
We get a little interesting here. So from all my talks around the league, Cam Ward is going number 1 to Tennessee, and they're not even listening to calls. It's almost like, yeah, we're good. Cleveland has been different this week. Calls are coming up for Cleveland and the Giants, and neither one of those teams are just slamming the phone, which tells me that there is a window, if you do offer a Godfather deal for a Cleveland or the Giants, to trade back, collect more draft capital, perhaps some veterans, and then make a decision later in the first round. The players that would be acquired if they were teams to be moving up would be the 3 blue chip prospects, our only blue chip unanimous prospects in this draft. That would be Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and the running back Ashton Genty. But my news this morning, Browns and the Giants are not just saying no outright. They are listening to calls. They are not the ones making them, but they are receiving them.
Fascinating, Mike T, because we're usually having this conversation because there are quarterbacks teams want to come up to get. So take me through the mindset. If you're Cleveland, if you're the Giants, if you're sitting in those spots, what is the reason that you are taking these phone calls and contemplating the possibility of moving out of 2 or 3?
Greedy, similar to what Peter said is you want to trade back, acquire a few other picks, and a lot of teams I've talked to think that's where the sweet spot of the draft is. Once you get past those 2 guys, if you're picking 5 or 15, there's not a big difference. So if you're not taking a quarterback, you probably could get good value in terms of extra picks and get a similar player. As Hembo reminded me, Greeny, it's still expensive, though. You go back to Will Anderson and what Houston did 2 years ago, 12-3 still cost them a future first-round pick and a second-round pick. So it's not inexpensive to go get one of those 3 blue-chip players, but a lot of people feel like it falls off the table once you get past them.
So I understand that from the acquiring team's perspective. How about if you're the Giants, for example? And I think there is a working belief amongst those of us who cover this that they are going to come out of this with a quarterback so